And welcome back to Hannity. Now, for years on this program, we've sounded the alarm about just how destructive Obamacare would be if, in fact, it's implemented. And we even asked doctors for their take. Watch this.
Physicians are up in arms.
When you layer bureaucrats on top of the doctor, who is the executive of the patient health, you're going to increase cost.
The plan that's on the table right now will not only harm healthcare, it'll destroy the quality of healthcare that we have in this nation.
I would say outraged is a good word for it.
One specific point that almost all the doctors were against: the support of the president's reform by the AMA.
The AMA signed on to this bill within about a day and a half or 2 days. The Obama administration announced that the doctors are on our side. Only 17% of the physicians in the country are AMA members, so the AMA may have officially been on their side, but for the administration to say the doctors are on our side, that's also not correct.
Now, it's pretty disturbing when you realize that many of those predictions have now become a reality. Now, even my next guest, who just happens to be the president's own cousin, has agreed to join us in our effort to set the record straight about Obamacare. He, in fact, is a medical doctor who's now running for the United States Senate in Secretary Sebelius' home state of Kansas. Dr. Milton Wolf, thank you for being here.
Hey, Sean, you're a great American.
Well, thank you, my friend. Now, all right, so how are you related to President Obama?
President Obama and I are cousins. I'm quick to remind people, though, that you cannot choose your family. What you can do is choose to rise up and stop your family from destroying America.
Well, I appreciate that. Did your cousin, when he said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, period. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan, period. Was he honest when he said those things in your view?
You know, look, I'm from Kansas, and I don't mind telling the truth. And the truth is, that was a lie. I've written about this in my Washington Times column. I've written about this and talked about this to anybody who will listen. You know, and that lie about being able to keep your doctor and keep your plan, that started, if you'll recall, 1 week before Obamacare was voted on, when Kathleen Sebelius, right here from Kansas, when she had the report, her own report, that showed 14 million Americans would lose their health insurance from Obamacare, and she hid that. She hid that from the Congress and ensured that Obamacare would pass. But you know, she has a history of having trouble telling the truth. In her own confirmation hearings, you'll probably recall, they were delayed because she was caught withholding information about receiving money from the late-term abortionists here in Kansas. And yet, our Senate still confirmed her. In fact, my opponent, Senator Pat Roberts, was one of only 2 Republican senators who gave her the 2 critical votes she needed to run Obamacare. And that was Northeastern liberal Olympia Snowe and our very own Kansas Senator Pat Roberts. Now look, if it wasn't for Pat Roberts, I know he's asking for her to resign today, but the irony is Kathleen Sebelius would not be in charge of Obamacare today if it was not for Pat Roberts.
It's an interesting race obviously unfolding there. From your understanding of the law, and I'll ask our panel here of doctors, gave them free white coats, which is more than Obama will give them, and they actually get to talk. But in your opinion, how does this impact the average American, that, you know, all these people getting cancellation letters, all these people that are seeing rate shock? How do you think, as you understand the law, how do you think it's going to impact the average person?
You know, this is so difficult, Sean. As you said, I'm a doctor. I am not a politician. And I deal every day with Kansans, with patients, with families. And these folks are worried because they're seeing their rates going up. And you know, we talk about access to health care. Well, the surest way to keep a patient away from a doctor is to make things too expensive. And that's exactly what Obamacare does. They call it the Affordable Care Act, but not a word of that is true. It's not affordable, and it does not provide care.
Yeah. All right, Doctor, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate your time, and we'll be following your Senate race very closely. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, appreciate it. All right, let me turn to my doctor friends here. Show of hands. How many believe the president when he said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, was being honest? Raise your hand.
I was there in 2009 when he said that.
You
I
got
was
that?
there. I got a coat.
You were in the audience?
I was in the coat.
You got a coat?
And he said...
Whose coat is better, mine or his?
Yours definitely, because yours actually will be there. Yeah, he said you can keep your health plan if you like it, period. You can keep your doctor if you like it, period.
So you think he lied?
Yeah, he absolutely lied. I feel bamboozled.
All right, so does anyone think he told the truth? No. Sure. You do. Dr. Manny, you think he told the truth?
Well, look, I have to assume that for the mere fact that, you know, bureaucrats don't understand health care. Plain and simple.
But this is what we found out, though. We'll get to our punditry class in a minute on this. We know that in 2010, they knew Go ahead, you want to weigh in? Go
Draft
ahead.
regulations. The
What's
draft
that?
regulations came out in June 2010 that said you could not keep your insurance plan.
Right.
It covered small, large businesses and the individual market. And as far as keeping your doctors concerned, think about that statement. Where are the doctors? Did we get a vote? We may not be able to keep seeing you. So if you can't come to us, you can't keep your doctor. It was obviously a law.
How many of you are going to lose patients? You know you're going to lose patients because of the law.
Well,
Yeah.
that's exactly what's going on with our practice. Patients coming up to me and they're saying, well, we're supposed to keep you, right? And I say, well, we don't take your insurance anymore. So the confusion is that they don't know where they're going to go. They don't know who is going to actually see them and what's going to happen next. Lots of those patients are going through cancer treatments, through pregnancies, in the middle of life-altering event, and now they finding out that there's nothing happening to them.
Jerry, you work in...
I'm the only dentist in the group.
Yeah.
And, I'm sitting here, and the 800-pound gorilla in this room is that we have insurance premiums that historically have continued to go up, and reimbursement to doctors have gone down.
Right.
And as a country, our citizens are getting sicker and sicker. There was a study by Aetna Healthcare in 2006 that found that on 250,000 patients done at Columbia University, they found improving the health of the mouth dropped healthcare costs by an average of 21%. And that study was repeated in Japan, and it was the same result. So really, I think we have to move from a disease-based model to a wellness-based model, but what we have here is, Pandora's box that's been opened.
If I get sick, I want to pick my doctor.
Exactly.
I want to... What kind of doctor are you?
I'm pain management as well, but what I was going to say is that I'm primarily concerned about the long-term health of people just who are sick. And we have to look at investments in research and medical education. There's going to be a doctor shortage. There are cuts to the NIH and other federal funding. I mean, we can give people health insurance, but unless we make advances in terms of our technology, our knowledge, our application of that knowledge, patients are not going to benefit in the long term.
Dr.
But hardly what kind of insurance are we giving them here? And we don't even know. Just because you have health care coverage, what is it covering? Is it covering your prescription drugs? Is it covering the doctor you want to see? We have no idea what that is. So you could have insurance and it doesn't matter.
The question that you asked before is, can you keep your doctor today? Oh, you want to pick your doctor. You can't pick your doctor even today, right? If you have an HMO, Mark knows perfectly well, which is a private insurance. If I decided not to take the HMO or you drop the HMO by your company, well, that's goodbye to your doctor. So you don't...
And that's the problem with Obamacare, because Obamacare is even worse.
Well, it's a modification of the things that we already got, and we never did anything about them.
If you want to know what Obamacare is going to look like, look at Medicaid, because that really is the model for Obamacare. And Medicaid pays doctors pennies, so very few good top doctors participate in Medicaid.
Who's going to work for pennies?
Medicare is approaching that kind of level,
that he's
so
talking
they're
about.
forcing us out of these programs by the crappy payment, and then all of a sudden they're going to turn around and say, doctors, you must participate, or we won't license you.
We're moving in that direction.
They are. There's no question about it.
All right, we got to take a break. Hang on, we'll come back. And coming up next tonight, right here on Hannity.
Hey, do you have that Obamacare? Obamacare? What's that? What's that? Oh, it's great! It's great? It's great! What is it? I started signing up last Thursday and I'm almost done.
Two of country music's biggest stars mocking the president's healthcare rollout at the CMAs. We're going to play more of that hilarious skit coming up after the break. And by the way, we always want to hear from you. Log on to our special companion site, HannityLive.foxnews.com. Follow the show, share your thoughts on this and much more. You can also join us on Twitter @Sean Hannity, and we will continue.